Seems like these raised flower beds are all the rage right now. We're seeing them pop up everywhere, and for good reason. They have a lot of benefits for your garden. I'm going to show you how I made this one so you don't have to pay somebody else to do it. You can do it yourself for just the cost of materials. We're going to start our raised garden bed with the build of a top and bottom frame out of treated 2x4s. Overall dimensions of this is 8 by 3 feet. You can see I've already pre-made the top and bottom, and this is treated wood, pressure treated wood. Normally you would not want to use pressure treated wood on a garden bed because the chemicals from that treating process can leach into the soil and into your food. But that's why we're going to line this with a galvanized steel to isolate that garden and the soil from this wood. This wood is just a frame to kind of support that steel. Here's the galvanized steel we're going to use. It's a mini corrugate. It's made for roofing, so this is an 8-foot length, which works good for our blocks. That's another reason I made it 8 foot long. So we're going to run these lengthwise, and each one of these panels is about 26 inches wide. So we need to basically make our garden bed 26 inches high. Then we can run a single sheet of this lengthways and give us a side panel for our garden bed. So what we need to do now is have some supports to put the top on the bottom and have an overall height of about 26 inches. 20 inches long. We now have our 6 20-inch supports. So now we need to go ahead and attach those to one side of our frame. We're going to do one in each corner and then one midway on the side panel. Just like this. So the idea here is these are not only attaching the bottom frame to the top frame, they're also providing some structural support to that galvanized steel to prevent it from bowing out in the side. We have our 20-inch supports secured to the bottom. To make this easier, I think I'm going to flip this on top here. And we just have to screw this together. Now we have one of our side panels, and what we'll notice right away, it's a little bit long. So that's on purpose. What I'd like to do here is bend this corner at each side so I get some overlap coming into this side. So I'll do the side panels with a little bit of a bend here, and then I can slide the end panels down and have some overlap so I don't have a gap in the corner. I need to bend 1.5 inches in from each side. So what I'm going to do is just simply measure in 1.5 inches, make a mark, then take a drywall square and just put that mark along the whole width of my sheet. Ideally, you'd have a press brake to do this. I'm just going to use a pair of sheet metal pliers, vice grip. Go clamp it on about by the line and just bend it up along the way here. see if this thing fits in there. Beautiful. Our frame is a little bit extra high with those 20-inch spacers, but at the bottom, I'm not concerned about that. But at the top, I want to make sure we keep this thing flush up to the top, if not just like a millimeter up, just to make sure none of the chemicals from the treated lumber get into the soil. So we'll have a good, nice seal there, barrier around that to prevent any of that leakage. We have our two sides done. 34 inches seems like a good number. Just going to use 4.5-inch angle grinder with the diamond blade on it. We have our end pieces cut. Before I put them in place, I'm just going to secure our side pieces here on the top, and then we'll adjust things. But I want to make sure we get our elevation correct up here, like I said, to make sure we've got a good seal, or we protect our dirt from our treated wood. Now let's test fit the end. That's pretty good. Also, what this will allow us to do is to set our side panel here, because it's loose on the bend, but we'll be able to maintain that gap and put a screw in, catch the end piece and the side piece together. But to start on, I'm going to put a couple in the top here to hold our elevation. Now you can see our gap is kind of all over the place here on the side, so my goal is to make this uniform. I put the other end in, zip some additional screws in to secure that metal to the 2x4s, and our raised bed is complete. It's still light enough where we can carry it in place. It's nice to build it on a flat piece of concrete here, then carry it into place, then fill it full of dirt. But turned out pretty good, I think. Now we just have to find a place to put it, fill it full of dirt. Here we've got our raised garden bed filled with dirt, a couple plants in it, in place, looking great. It's going to do the job. We're running a little bit late on growing time this year. We've got a couple plants in here that my daughter started at school, so she's happy. Mission accomplished. Next year, this thing will produce a good amount of vegetables for us. The first night, a deer was coming and nipping off some leaves, so just added in this little wire fencing temporarily. Probably do maybe a full cage around this. But the good news is, with this height and the sides and everything, we don't have to worry about rabbits, things like that. That would get a low level garden and ravage that and eat that. So happy with how this turned out. Thanks for watching. Adios. If you found this video helpful or entertaining at all, please consider subscribing to my channel.